Good morning, good morning. Yes, this is Spirit Journey. I've been up now, at least an hour, and I'm watching a video. It's a commentary on the movie Black Panther. I saw the movie for the first time about 2 days ago. I saw it in the evening. No, I saw it in the afternoon. So I'm going to discuss the movie Black Panther. I was hesitant. I have to preface this. I was hesitant to see the movie, and the reason for that hesitancy, I think it really stems from my own biases. My own biases in seeing a movie that is majority of the people are Black, and I was maybe I felt a little anxious, I think, of where the movie is really going to be coming from. I didn't know whether or not it would be a movie that will, on the surface, to lure you in, and it's a futuristic type of movie, science fiction, but then it's like you see an apple and then you bite into it and you didn't know there's a razor blade in it. A lot of movies or television shows, growing up, at least how I internalized a lot of things, that many of the things that we see in the media remind me of such an apple that has a razor blade in it. So, and the other component was the warriors in the movie, the female warriors. And I felt uncomfortable. And I'll talk about that also, why that might have made me feel uncomfortable. But I think it's important to be said, and I want to be forthcoming with my emotions and my feelings. And so this is what I thought when I just saw the trailers, over the internet. And then I bumped into a relative, a family member. And we were talking briefly, and the person said, hey, I saw the movie. They was talking about the movie, and I shared them briefly what I felt. They said, I liked it, and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people are watching it, and some people are watching it twice even. And I thought about it. I said, And I thought, because this family member said that they saw it, maybe I should see it. So I went to see it. Yep. And these are my feelings. I think, so I really want to be clear. I think it had me at times emotional. I felt emotional. I think it was 3 different instances that I was going to cry, that I started to cry a little bit. I was very moved in certain parts. I was moved about when the protagonist in the movie was going through the ceremony of becoming the king, and so they buried him, and then they gave him, before they buried him, they gave him a potion to drink, and then it was to connect him with the ancestors. And I like this the landscape and the trees. I'm fascinated with this tree, and then you saw people standing around, and I feel a little emotional right now just thinking about that. I think also it moved me a little bit because my father he's been gone now for, this year will be 9 years. So I think part of that got me emotional. And again, the protagonist is going to see his own father who passed. So I think that might have been one of the reasons why I felt the way I did and why I'm feeling that way right now. It was interesting, on the surface, it had the special effects. And I know that the movie, I know that they did the best that they could to develop a movie like that. I was told post watching the movie that it was a $200 million budget to make the film. And I feel that the people behind it, they did their best. The acting was okay, but I know that they did their best. It added comedy, a little comedy to break the tension of the movie, because the subject matter can be very stressful, and sometimes it was hard for me to follow because some of the terminologies they used. I'm not really good with politics per se, so it was getting scrambled in my head when they were talking, like in the very beginning of the movie and towards the end when they were addressing the politics that was going on. What else? The other thing that I think was really distracting me from the movie. I mean, overall, it was a good movie. I give the movie an 8. I think part of the issue that I had with the movie, the warriors. How to say it? See, I know that there are not going to be a lot of people who are going to agree with me here, but I like to see women looking like women, some of the, I like Lupita, gorgeous, feminine woman, and when she had to fight, she fought. She fought, still looking and acting like a woman. But I feel some of the characters that see, I'm just going to just say it. I don't enjoy seeing women who look like men or have a male energy about them. There's nothing wrong being a confident woman who's black, but I don't like what they call the stereotype image of the strong black woman. It's almost like a stereotype, an archetype type of woman that defeminize the female, and that it feminizes that archetype feminizes the male and masculinize the female. And so I start to think, I think I talked to my family member about it, about the issue I had with some of the warrior women, and I feel that it's taken away from womanhood, and I feel that part of it is taking away the black community. I feel that, see, again, when we create something, we create out of our experiences. So maybe the person that made the movie, that directed the movie, maybe in their environment that they were what they call strong women. Now, nothing wrong with a strong woman, but the archetype of the, in quotes, strong black woman looks like a lesbian type of woman. And I know that that might be really a hard term for some people to hear. You are who you are. If you swing that way, that's where you swing. But I feel that the lesbian movement is infiltrating the black community, and they try to dress it up and cover it up as something positive and say, oh, well, this is a strong black woman. No, I want to hear that's a strong black man, a warrior man. I don't want to see a woman that acts and looks like a man and disguising it as something positive and a role model for the black woman. And I think that's what's hurting our community, that they want to masculinize the female and to feminize the black male so that you won't have your your strong society. When the pyramid is turned upside down, that's when it's going to topple over. That pyramid's supposed to stand on the base, not on the point. So that's what's happening, I feel, in the black community. They're getting reversals done and dressing it up to make it look positive and exploiting the fact that a lot of black men aren't in the home. Many of them are in prison. And so you're left with this woman that's now looking and acting very mannish. But this is supposed to be positive. And I think it's I'm trying to find the right word. It's an apple with a razor blade in it, in a nutshell. Be careful. You know, like even the protagonist, it's like he was, I want to say a big man, He's almost as big as those ladies. I want to see a big, strong guy playing a leader. I mean, I want him wise and strong. I don't want to see a big-ass woman with muscles. I don't find that attractive. I don't. And I don't find it as a role model. Lupita and the other girl who's the scientist, now those are beautiful black women and feminine. So they could be intelligent, they could be sexy, they could be a warrior. But I don't know. I think I remember I was going to say that maybe the people who made the movie, whether it be the writer or the director, maybe they didn't have a father figure. Maybe the people who ran his household were women, and they were strong women. But that could be it too. You are your environment. So I can't take that from them. But whether it's a female-run household, still be a woman. Look like a woman, act like a woman. I would say that's the biggest thing that I have about the movie. And then towards the end, I had a problem with the CIA person. And the same, I don't know, that razor blade in that apple again. You have a white man, and they go and save the American white guy, so he doesn't die at the end. So it was that same theme to save the white man, and he's an American white guy from the CIA. The CIA in the black community is infamous, but it's being disguised that he's really our helper because he allegedly saved one of the characters, the lady, from a bullet. And I'm thinking, he might have had that bullet. He might have orchestrated and given the guns to cause the melee there, behind the scenes. I mean, in the movie they show there's somebody else, some other thing that's going on. But I'm thinking that the CIA orchestrates drama and could even make it look like that they're trying to save you. And when that young black girl, I said, wait a minute, I could have said, okay, we don't want to look like total insensitive being. Okay, render him aid, leave him out there, and let his own CIA people go and take him. Would they do the same for you? I remember in this, it was something that happened in real life that took place in Africa. You had a black American fellow, and he was with other people from the U.S. mainland. They were white, though. And for whatever, I forget the reason why they were there in Africa. I think it was West Africa. I could be wrong. But something happens, and their vehicle turns over, and they're wounded. And I think people in another vehicle in front sees what happens. And so they run, and they saved everyone but the black man. And they left him there to die. And it was on Oprah, on the Oprah show. This could have been in the 1990s. I'm not sure exactly when it happened. And even though this guy, they're all American, it might have been a mix of Europeans and white Americans, but he was the, I think, only black American there. And they just, I think, assumed he was a local black person. But even if he was a local black person from that part of Africa, that's just, you just gonna leave the guy there? It staggered me. It staggered me. They could have rendered aid, but they didn't, and the guy died. And his children were on Oprah's show discussing that something like this can happen in the modern world. This wasn't some from the 1960s. And so when I saw the movie, Black Panther, so I'm thinking they're rendering aid. So I feel it's almost like they're conditioning your mind that in all cases to give aid to the white man, a CIA operative, and then have him in your inner sanctuary, in their forbidden city type of place, their home, in the center of everything. Even in the Bible, in the New Old Testament, I forget the chapter, the book in the Old Testament, but it was a part when the king had showed his enemy his wealth, showed him everything. So this is my blah, 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 showed his potential enemy all his wealth. And then the prophet came to him and said, what did you show him? I showed him everything. He says, well, as a punishment, you're going to lose everything. Everything he saw is going to be taken from you, and he's going to take it. So that's how I took that they had this foreigner in the inner sanctuary of their community, showed him all the technologies. And I said, what an asshole, okay? And I said, you're gonna, and again, remember in the movie, in the beginning, it starts, or pretty close starts with a place in I think it was Oakland, California, and it's a black community. And that they knew what it was like in America, and the things that happens, and the oppression from whites. That was the whole point, to link that part of town. And I think that Oakland is where you had the Black Panthers, the political party, the Black Panthers of the 1960s. I think they started At least they had one of the main, early headquarters in Oakland, California, but I think it actually originated in Mississippi. But either way, so they know the history of America, of the CIA. They had all that information. So all the wealth that they had and infiltrated this black town in California with this movie, that they didn't have the common sense to say, hey, wait a minute. We know what they do, and we have to protect ourselves. So I just thought it was really something. And then she's fighting a battlefield, and you see black on black killing each other. And again, remember the person in the movie, one of them, that tried to take the kingship. That was the individual that was raised in the United States, in the ghetto, and he takes over. And so they showed him as he goes crazy, like he goes like extreme, like, oh, we gotta take this, we're gonna, take our stand and fight everybody, share our knowledge, and we're not gonna be victims anymore. But he was just he didn't use wisdom. But I understood him though. I understood him, even though he went berserk. But he needed temperance because again he saw firsthand. And why was this African group there? Weren't they there to share with the black community there, to get them to go in a direction where this African civilization wanted them to go? So again, also with this movie, you have someone from outside. You didn't have someone within the community to alert them. If it was an outsider, why do you need an outsider to tell you what's happening in your own community? So that's another thing. So the people, they are lost. But you need an outsider who has all this wealth and knowledge and science. And what happened? I don't know. So it's like, the gerbil on the wheel. It's spinning, it's moving, but where's it going? I felt it wasn't really going to go anywhere. And then at the end, this society, this African society would have known about the politics, because it has to deal with its own politics within its own country. And you have the other tribes that in kingdoms or whatever, that they have to know how to handle. So, but they go into this place in America, and what happens? That there was a crumble, and there was a war. That people had died in the beginning of the movie. So and each time it was a black killing another black. But they saved the white guy. They go, and then remember, the white guy is in a vehicle. And this is their equipment. let a CIA operative use your weapon to save you. It was unreal. It was like that brainwashing that is conditioning black people, that an outsider has to be the one to save you, and especially a white man, and have him using your technology to save you. Wow. So you have lesbian-looking women They got to try to save and protect the king. See that? You have a king, but he has women, man-looking women, to protect him. Okay, they look all angry and everything. This is supposed to be cool. The movie is to brainwash you and to tip the pyramid on it, the point. You should have a black man with a black man army to protect them. You don't use women you could have women there, but they're not your primary source of protection. But you know, even Louis Farrakhan uses women and his own daughters to surround him. And I think it's unfortunate. See, part of that is because, my understanding, when men use women to, when men use women to protect them, it's like a bodyguard that they have to shoot through her first. And I guess the outcry if you go shoot a woman first. And also by trust, that some men could trust women nearer to them than men, because men may be looking for the kingship or the leadership, but you get a woman there. And a lot of times people are sleeping with the women there, unfortunate. And we know that happens. But again, a woman scorned, you know? So you have to be careful with women around you too. But either way, I think that's the premise, that they might feel safer having women around in their inner circle because they might be more protective rather than having a male. Because again, it was a male that did say, I want to take your kingdom from you. So that was an issue. I stayed and I watched the credits. I like when I see a movie, and especially a movie that has, I think, a lot of meaning. I love to see the credits. And luckily I did, because, see, there were two instances when they were giving the credits that the movie wasn't over. They showed another bit in the movie. And again, as I mentioned, about half of the people left the theater once the credits started going because they thought the movie was over. But I just felt, stay to the very end. And yes, they're going to have a sequel. And guess what? They're going to have it featuring a white man in Africa. The very, very, very end of the movie, you see these two little African kids with paint on their face and looking down on something in a hut. And then they run out, and then you see one of the ladies, one of the characters in the movie, talking to the kids, and then I think either she goes in the hut or the person comes out of the hut. And then you see it's a white man wearing some type of African attire, and he's called, I think, White Wolf. And they had some caption or something. I said, oh, wow. White man in Africa. I don't know. Yes. For those who walked out of the movie before they saw that, you wonder what the real agenda is for this movie. So this white man now is going to be a savior of Africa. You already showed him all your secrets. But the European and the white American, they never have you in their inner sanctuary. They don't have you in the Masonic halls, the white Masonic halls, in their inner sanctuary. So why do you bring him in your sanctuary to see all your wealth, your resources, and then they gave him a part of the resources, that valuable mineral. Wow. I said, this guy did not really do his homework. He gave you a flavor, a veneer of ancient African mythologies, having the African warriors, female warriors. But he got it mixed up, I think. He got today. And if you wanted to keep it traditional, ancient African stuff, okay, then keep it ancient African stuff. But don't have a white man in the inner sanctuary and share him your technologies. You teach yourself, your children, and those people who are oppressed by that oppressor the technology so they could protect themselves. But no, that's not what's going to happen. You're going to teach him your technology so he can come and protect you. He's not going to protect you because he doesn't respect you, and you don't respect yourself enough to trust yourself that you can handle your own affairs. And so that is my take on the movie. Yeah. So I know that this comment may not be what you were looking for, but I think I'm being honest about my feelings about it and where this movie could actually be going. Again, it's reached the 900 million mark over the weekend, maybe even more because now the weekend is over. So it's making some mega money. But I have a feeling this is just a more brainwashing of the black community at large. You are your own savior and not the white man. He only becomes your savior when you worship him. Worship yourself. So with that, I wish you all well. And yes, share your comments below. Thank you again for watching. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.